welcome back to another episode of Ada's Diaries. Yeah, I decided to change it from Ada's vlog series to Ada's Diaries because I realized it actually does feel like it actually does feel kind of like a diary. It's a bit therapeutic talking to you guys about my work and about what I do. Um, yeah, so I decided to just change it a bit into, as I said earlier anyway, that it was kind of going to be like a diary kind of thing for me. So, yes, I decided to change the name to Ada's Diaries. Plus, I think it's got a better ring to it, don't you? Yeah. All right. So, hi guys. I decided to talk today about interviews. I remember that last time I was talking, I mentioned how participants can actually start an interview here in Nigeria without actually knowing that the interview has started, or without actually knowing that they are participating in an interview. So I didn't really clear that issue up much, but I decided to just dedicate a full couple of minutes to just talking about the whole interview process. Okay, so talking about research interviews, it's a bit different from what you see on TV as journalism and things like that. It's, I would say, a whole lot harder, particularly working in a hospital, to get interviews done, because you've got patients that have appointments and they have to keep to well, at least in the UK, they tend to keep to their appointment times and then come immediately. It's time for 10 minutes or at most 30 minutes before their dedicated appointment time, and to see their doctors or to see their nurses or whatever. However, in Nigeria, well, at least here in the clinic I work, there is no dedicated appointment time. Patients are just told to come on this particular day. So, of course, people leave their houses as early as 6 a.m. and they just start rushing to the clinic. So, yes, there is no dedicated appointment time. They just come and their case notes get brought out. As I said, it's not computerized. So yes, there's someone who has to find their case notes and then bring it out, and then I think there's a particular order, and then in which the case notes get reviewed by the doctor or whatever, and that's how it goes. So yes, participating in the interviews. Um, it's a bit difficult. Now, here in UBTH, at least in the assisted conception units, there is no dedicated room for you to be able to go and sit with a patient and have your interview and talk. So it's a bit tricky. Um, they all sit, on a long, it's not bench, it's more like a long chair. It's not a sofa. It's not that comfortable. It's just a long metal chair, but it's not a bench. It's got a backrest as well. So they're all seated quite closely together. So it's a bit difficult to get anyone out. Oh yes. Also, most of the consulting rooms are in use at that moment. So you really don't have a good enough space to be able to conduct your research. In the UK, if the patient comes 30 or 20 minutes before their appointment time, I could actually use that particular time and be recruiting them, or if they've already been pre-recruited, I can actually have that time to do the interview. However, that doesn't happen here, so I just have to walk up to the patients and pretty much introduce myself and start talking to them. They introduce themselves back. If they do want to participate, then they would listen to you. Not necessarily they want to participate. They would listen to you in the beginning. Once you mention, like to talk to you about your experiences, they would actually, at a point, no one actually starts saying, go, start talking now. They just interrupt you. Okay, so like example, my research is on stress, right? So I go up to a patient and I'm like, oh, hello, my name is Ada. I'm a PhD student. My research is on the stress and affordability of assisted reproductive treatment. You're here for the procedure, I see. Would you mind if I could get a few minutes of your time to just talk to me about the procedure? And the person like interjects and just said, don't mind them. I don't even know why it is so expensive. It is as in I don't want to like. It just becomes a whole rant. You've not really had time to consent them. Neither have you had time to turn on your audio tape or anything like that, or whatever your recording material is at that point in time. They just start talking. Now, as I said, because also they're all seated quite closely together, it's a bit difficult to get somebody out and talk to them. So technically, the person beside them can actually hear the interview or can actually hear the questions. And I've got so many instances where I'm talking to one person and another lady beside her just goes, my dear, your own is even small. If you see my... And I'm like, okay, wasn't talking to you. Or, wait your turn, or I'm gonna get to you in a moment. It kind of turns into more like a focus group kind of thing when you're trying to do interviews, which is not really bad actually, because from hearing that particular lady's experience, I then want to go talk to her. So it's actually quite nice, but it's a bit difficult to say, please don't interject in this person's interviews, because I'm going to have to transcribe this whole thing, and I really don't know how to put you or where to put you. Do I put you as an interruption? Do I put you as another respondent? Like, what? How do I transcribe this, please? So please, how do you definitely get to say, please don't do that, or it's a bit tricky getting that part, and Nigerians do it a lot. But then again, you can't really blame them if they're within hearing distance of what you're talking about. So also with getting a particular room to have the interviews on, initially I was able to get the room that the nurses change. They come in with their their attire or whatever it is they wore from home, and then they come and change into their scrubs when they get here. So I was able to get about 2 chairs into that particular room, and to take patients in there and have the interviews. But the patients stopped agreeing to that because they don't get to hear when their name is being called. So the nurses just shout, Mrs. Agwei, Mrs. Achinaya, Mrs. So that's how they get to know that they're being called, and nobody actually walks up politely or anything like that. They just get their name shouted that way. So number one, your audio tape is being interrupted by the external interferences, and at the same time, the patient is not particularly paying much attention because they're trying to hear their name as well, and they would rather just be where everyone is so that they can actually hear their name when it's being called. So it's a bit difficult to get patients out to in a particular room or a particular area for you to have your interviews. So yeah, that's a bit of a tricky situation as well. But there's so many other instances. But then, as I said, I really try to make this diary logs as short as possible, and I'm already going past 9 minutes. So I'm going to have to say goodbye for now and have a wonderful day. Definitely, I'm going to do more of this, and I'm definitely going to talk more about the interview process and, interviewing and consenting for interviews and confidentiality. And I mentioned the audio tape. I've got interesting stories about that, trust me. So definitely look out for my next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.